Damn, that looks futuristic. Well, greetings, YouTube. I have here the future. Well, actually, not the future, but a Eureka Electrolux Beam q100 nozzle, I'm going to call it. This one happens to have the Electrolux logo on it. But these are power nozzles that are currently made still by Eureka, Beam, Electrolux, whatever the identity crisis of that company, their name at the time. And they're made out of real cheap plastic, and they're overly complicated. So of course I'm going to make a video on this and show you some of the usual problems. And most always, pretty much everybody who's ever had one of these has broken their neck. Now I have here a new neck assembly. The other thing that breaks often are the pedals that come as a kit, which is kind of nice. So we're going to go ahead and take this apart and fix it. As always, don't try this at home. Bring this to your authorized professional. And please, if you are buying a central vac kit, don't buy this. Makes a scary sound when you take it apart. Alright. There. Alright, when I say overly complicated, usually we have in a power head a motor, a brush roller, a belt, and sometimes some extra circuitry to stop the motor if the belt gets stressed, if it's a lifetime belt model. So what is in here extra, oh, you know, light, that's not really extra, but is this circuit board. So there's two circuit boards. There's like a third circuit board in here with some LEDs that light up this very elaborate height adjustment. You can see there's holes in here. So rather than just, you know, they could have just made this a wheel and painted different colors and, you know, put an indicator right here, but instead they have lights. The other thing they could have done is they could have made quick disconnects on the wiring, because undoubtedly something's going to fail. It's but that wasn't done. So we're going to end up having to do a bit of basically housekeeping here inside this. So as you see me take this apart, this is one of the more frustrating things I work with on a regular basis. I don't know if you can see that right there, but those wires came pinched from the factory. Alright, so I'm going to start disassembling this. Luckily most of them are Phillips screws, but there are a couple different sizes and some things. So there's that weird height adjustment indicator. Yet another phone call asking, do we buy your old vacuum? No, do not want to buy your old vacuum. Stop calling. Alright. you guys can probably see very much is this is black on black. I'm not in a particularly well lit area right now, but I'm gonna remove the cover here. So right now I'm going to go ahead with side cutters. I'm just going to cut these wires that are hanging out, because we're changing the whole neck out. Broken Electrolux. So now I'm going to inspect the corner here for a broken height adjustment or a broken base. And the height adjustment and locking device are toast. See the part that broke. So here's the handle release. Now, the other thing I'm always concerned about is this stuff breaking in here in the base, and it's got a mark where it's stressed right there. There's not really a lot I can do about it. That this whole plastic base assembly isn't made by itself currently by Eureka. It's something that makes this, it would make this like a totaled out repair. I mean, there would be no fixing it at this point, and the customer would have to replace the whole part. So I'm going to go ahead and put that locking device in there. There's the handle locking device. We're going to go ahead and put this in. Again, we're going to tuck these wires off to the side just for a minute. Just like any power head neck, there's electrical wires that have their own little cavity they need to go into, otherwise they're going to get pinched. Oh, the joys of working on Eurekas. All the wonderful sounds they make. Alright. These light wires over here are kind of in the way of itself. I'm just going to move those out of the way. Put one of those on. Okay. So the base is cracked over here. I put the new pedal in, but it is cracked. So that's kind of toast. But the motor's good, the rest of it's good, so in this case we will be giving it back to the customer like that. I hate to not fix the whole repair, but sometimes different circumstances make us do things we wouldn't normally do. So I'm going to put this board back. It's important when you're dealing with an electrical board to always just hand tight the screws. Never really, they're just on there. You don't need to torque them down with a drill. Alright. So now we're giving kind of a strange option here. Is I could desolder the wires to hook up the new plug. And by the way, these come with these quick release plugs, but there aren't, even when you order one of these boards brand new, they're never plugged into the board, so they're crimped from the factory for something it never was. So I can do that, or I could wire nut them on, and then I can tuck. There's plenty of room here, there's plenty of room here, there's plenty of room here, there's plenty of room up here to tuck wire nuts in. So in this case, that's what I'm going to do, just because it's the easiest thing, and it's so we're just going to wire nut that. Now sometimes what I'll do is I'll wire nut them over here instead of over here, but there's not really a benefit to doing that. There's plenty of room in this little cavity for that. And anytime I've done that, that means pulling the actual height adjustment out. And these height adjustments are, once they're taken out of the vacuum, have no structural integrity. So the plastic bows out, and you end up having to bend it back for it to fit right. So I don't want to take that out in this case. So again, it's a shame these were nicely terminated and will never get used like that. I have to say I really like my the cheap Vice Grip brand wire stripper, but it automatically strips and it'll do 2 at a time. It's kind of nice for a repair like this. Wire that up. And a lot of people open these up themselves and then see all these wires in here and bring it to me in a box or a bag or something. The wiring's actually not too complicated on this. It's just there's a lot of it. Alright. And the other thing is that anytime you're putting wire nuts in a vacuum, because of all the vibration, especially in a power head, I always put a little bit of electrical tape over the wire nut. And this is strictly to act kind of as a Loctite, and just to make sure that over the years they don't come loose and potentially cause a ground out or a shock or a short or something like that. Alright, so those are just tucked in there, just like they look like they should be. The board is going back. The board is held in place with this little plastic thing with short screws. Next up is the light up height adjustment. Which, if you take the board and this little thing off it, it's kind of weird to put back right when you look at it, because there's a few angles it looks like it should go at. Alright, that's in there. I'm just checking it right now to make sure all the screws are back. I think I've got a loose screw in here. I'm sure. Alright, I do not have a loose screw in here. Just going to clean the inside of the lens with some Windex real quick. The other thing that's peculiar are these vents here. Now if I put these vents here, well, there's a circuit board there, the motor sits up here, so the vent doesn't really actually do anything. They're just kind of there for show. Make sure everything is lined up here. So now another thing about this, okay, so it's nice, and an interesting thing about this power head is that if you need to replace the brush roller and or a belt or a base plate, they are sold as a kit altogether. And I say this is nice because usually you'll need to replace all those as one anyways. I think more vacuums should offer that as a kit. On this it's very reasonably priced. I'm sure on some vacuums that could get pricey, but if it's common, why not do it? I can get the belt by itself, but I don't stock it by itself. I just carry the roller and all that. So we're just cleaning this up for the customer now as a courtesy, as always. And that's the end of that bottle. Cleaning out the belt guard. Now what I'm doing now, it's not something you necessarily have to do. A lot of vacuum stores won't do what I'm doing, but I think it's really important to give the customer back a clean unit, both inside and out. Especially if they have pets or something, help reduce any odors. As well. And we're going to do the same sort of job to these wheels. You can just see how dirty the wheels have become. When we see dirt like this on a vacuum, my personal conclusion is that this is either run on a bare floor that's greasy and dirty often, or the carpet has not been shampooed, and this dirt is actually dirt that's on the carpet. It's kind of gross to think about. Now, in some cultures, you take your shoes off always before you go in the house, and you have your own house slippers to keep the floor clean, and I think that's actually a really good idea. So there's my floor cleaning tip for the day. Don't wear your shoes that you wear outside the house inside the house. I know that's nothing more brilliant or special, but hell, maybe you won't have wheels on your vacuum that look like this. That being said, in some cultures we wouldn't bring animals in the house. I have pets, obviously, from my videos, but just saying, in some cultures we don't bring animals in the house. So next we're going to scrub the Kirby cake, off that, and we're going to wash this. Alright, can't tell, but the brush roller is cleaned up a bit. Still pulling stuff out of this brush roller. So, a video discussing brush roller wear and how I think that wooden brush rollers are very cost effective. This one probably next year or two will need to be replaced, but it's not the point where we're gonna replace it yet. So in my opinion, it's one of the better things that's done on this power head. Alright, the plastic is actually so chintzy on this that you can put the brush roller in, even though the brush roller has these square pegs wrong, and it will just bend the plastic, so you have to be kind of careful when you put these brush rollers in. Alright. I know I always get accused on YouTube of being rough with things, but some things you just need to be rough with. That's the best way to put it on. Alright. Next we're going to put our screws on. Last one is being a little funny. Do I have other debris in there? Let's take my Miele flashlight and check out. got a notable rough point in the motor. See how this sounds when we turn it all on. I'm going to play because of the plastic bowing that holds this pedal release in. Knotted this. Let's do that for now. Alright, time to test it. Now, I didn't get gifted the rest of the canister with this repair. And generally it's a good idea to bring your whole vacuum in when we're repairing it, but in this case they didn't. So we're going to see what's what. Working right. And you can see the size adjustment. So that's good. We're going to clean this up. It's still pretty dirty on the rest of it. So grab a There's not too many paint marks on this. There's a lot of big scratches in the paint because this top cover's painted, but everything else actually looks pretty good. We're not going to actually probably have to clean it up with anything else. So as always, please like and subscribe to Performance Reviews. If there's something you want to see repaired, you can always comment below. But don't ask me to repair the rarest vacuum in the world, because that's what I've been getting.